me go across to Prashant Preeti first. You're saying no Maldives, yes to Lakshadweep. I was speaking to the administrator of Lakshadweep. At this moment, there are only 300 rooms, not 300 hotels, 300 rooms across all the islands of the Lakshadweep. So what are you even talking about?
No, Rahul, firstly, thank you for having me on the show. Rahul, you're absolutely right. There is very basic infrastructure available on Lakshadweep. But the decision which we have taken, which is basically to suspend all the future bookings on EaseMyTrip portal. EaseMyTrip is the second largest travel portal in the country.
How many bookings did you
have? Almost about 20 to 25% of all the bookings which happen online is through EaseMyTrip, Rahul. And last year,
how many bookings do you have for the Maldives?
As I said, that it's usually anywhere between 20 to 25%, and 3 lakh people traveled to Maldives last year.
So how many have you cancelled?
We are not cancelling any. What we are saying is that from today onwards, no further bookings will be made on EaseMyTrip related to Maldives.
And why have you done it? Is it a publicity stunt, or why are you doing this?
So, Rahul, of course, this is going to be, and there is going to be a revenue loss, which we are going through this. So this is basically purely from the sentiment of why should we give business to the country, which is showing so much of animosity towards India. Without any provocation, multiple of their representatives, MPs have said derogatory things about India and the PM. Plus, they have also run the campaign in the past, India out. So it's very clear, a country who doesn't really care about our business, why should we provide
so now
business to them?
You're talking about some kind of an MOU with Lakshadweep tourism. But your bookings are here and now. Building up Lakshadweep, how long do you think that might take?
It will take time. It's going to be a long haul. We are also in touch with various airlines to actually first start the connectivity between the mainland India and the Lakshadweep. There are barely any flights to Lakshadweep right now. But our endeavor is not just to promote Lakshadweep, but there are so many other pristine beach locations out in India. For example, there's a place called as Mararikulam. Not many people are aware about it. It's a fisherman's town, beautiful location, must have at least 5,000 rooms available over there, but people aren't aware about it. Then there is Andamans as well, which is beautiful out there, as stunning as any other location could be. So there are multiple positions, multiple places which are available out in India where people can spend their hard-earned money while continuing to retain their dignity. As any self-respecting country, citizen, we thought that this was too much for a country to show animosity towards us without any provocation.
Ashok Sajjanar, as a former diplomat, this pushback that we're seeing from the Ministry of External Affairs, the High Commissioner of the Maldives being summoned, being given presumably a dressing down, we don't have the specifics, but obviously India conveyed displeasure at the manner in which some of their ministers and MPs had spoken out against India after the Prime Minister went to the Lakshadweep. Do you think this is following the right strategy? Are we pressing the right buttons? Because the president of the Maldives at this time is in China on a 5-day visit. Could we be pushing an important neighbor, especially in the context of China trying to encircle us in the Indian Ocean? Could we be pushing them further into Beijing's grasp?
No, thank you very much, Rahul, for having me on your show. I don't think so. I think we had to draw some red lines, and those red lines have been drawn. You would recall that when this whole thing erupted yesterday, our High Commissioner had raised the issue with the Maldivian Foreign Office. You would have seen that the Maldivian Foreign Office very quickly came up with a statement saying, completely disassociating the government from whatever has been stated by these 3 low-level ministers, deputy ministers, saying that, the freedom of speech does not extend to spreading hate. Also, they should not be doing something that spoils relations with other friendly countries. You would have seen that there have been huge number of voices in Maldives, whether it is from the former Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid, former President Mohammad Nasheed, also one of the MPs, women MPs, who's demanded that Maldives should seek an apology from India. So, India has friends in Maldives. Let's not forget that. 45% of the population that voted for Ibrahim Soli in the elections, that was basically for India. So the point I'm making is that we had to tell them what are the red lines, and I'm happy that they have taken corrective action. They have taken corrective measure. very quickly. They have suspended these three ministers. Of course, the China challenge continues to be there. But I think that is at a different level that we have to deal with. We'll have to continue to deal with. But very soon, I'm confident, Rahul, that Maldives and President Moizu is going to realize that they do not have any alternative but to have good
What
and
makes you so confident? He was
friendly
elected on a
relations with
pro-China, anti-India agenda. He did get elected to power, so you can say, till I'm in power, this is the agenda that got me voted to power.
Yeah, but if you recall the meeting that he had with Prime Minister Modi in Dubai on the 1st of December, there are two issues. One is they are not going to renew the hydrographic agreement. Then there are 77 maintenance Navy personnel for the 3 aircraft we have given. Now they said, okay, we are going to set up a committee to see how these 77 people from India, what they call defense personnel, that they can leave. So I think they have also come to realize that whenever Maldives has needed anything, whenever Maldives has been with its back to the wall, there is no other country but India which has come to their rescue, whether it is during COVID, whether it is to supply water in 2014, whether it was tsunami, whether it was against the coup in 1988. I think they realized that. So, there is something that you say when elections are going on, elections are taking place, but once the heat of the elections, that has gone away.
And as you see in that visualization compiled by the India Trade Data Intelligence Unit, there's also a lot of commerce that's involved. Ultimately, Indian tourists contribute the maximum to the Maldivian economy, and the maximum number of tourists that Maldives gets at this moment. Earlier, it used to be China, but the maximum number of tourists Maldives is getting at this moment come from India, more than 11% of the total. Earlier, if you look back in 2012 and 11, you would have seen that China was the #1 country. China has now dropped off the radar, and India, which earlier wasn't even in the top 5, was way down, has now bounced up to #1. In 2015, it entered the top 5, and after that, as that graph moves along, you will see how India keeps jumping year after year in terms of the number of tourists we are sending to the Maldives. Went up to #2 in 2019, and post the pandemic, we just kind of went way ahead. And that's the way the tally stands at this moment. India at #1, Russia at #2, and all other countries much lesser, and China now dropping off. So China is actually contributing much lesser than it used to previously, and India contributing the maximum.